etc. You need to give yourself more credit, man, because I think, like me, sometimes I think you get way too hard on yourself.
Heat and pressure makes diamonds, big brother.
and a lump of coal.
I love you, Jim. I'm sorry. I'll get off the line. I just want to tell you I love you, big brother, and I'm real proud of you, and you're an inspiration to me personally. So
that's amazing. That's
maybe
heartfelt.
Maybe someday we'll run away again. You know.
Hopefully somewhere exotic and with a positive place.
Not cornfields between Rockford and Dubuque, Iowa.
Not
cows and off-duty police officers.
Not
all right.
Right on, dude.
Right.
I'll go anywhere with you, man. You're my ride or die.
Oh, Greg, thanks so much for calling in. And I want to welcome. Thank you so much. And I would like to welcome other callers to call in 866-826-1340, 866-826-1340. We're going to get to some of the nitty gritty, which once again is a disclaimer because this is kind of hard to hear, especially if you're an abuse survivor. And Joe's definitely got some tales to tell. We're going to get right back to that after our first break, and we'll be back with Moments of Clarity after this. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. We welcome your input at 866-826-1340. Tiffany will be right back after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi, this is Tiffany Werner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Werner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We are back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. To join in the discussion, call 866-826-1340. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hi, welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity. I'm Tiffany Werner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I'm your host. And my special guest today is Joe Potosi. He's the author of When the Dust Settled, Between a Rock and a Hard Place. And his brother just called in and gave support. And it's brought a tear to my eye. It's so sweet. Joe says that he was age 3 years old when his father left the house and his stepfather came in the back door, basically, and was very abusive. So, and his brother Greg that had called in was a little younger, so he says that Joe remembers more than he does. But how he's handling it and writing the book, When the Dust Settled, says a lot. And he's pretty descriptive on the abuse he went through. But not only that, but then the healing that comes with it afterwards. And so I want to welcome back to Moments of Clarity, Joe Potosi.
Thank you, Tiffany. So if I can pick up where we left off.
Yeah, please do.
I'm in third grade. My stepfather does not work. So there's a local greasy spoon, or in other words, a restaurant, really very close to the project. I go and talk to the owner and ask for a job. Obviously, I didn't understand. Only being in third grade, 8 years old, you can't work, you know. He offered me a job sweeping the parking lot every Saturday for $2. But I was hell bent on getting a job, and he asked, why? And I said, I got to help my family, got to help my mom. He goes, kid, that's not your responsibility. And my response was, oh yes, it is. So, give you a very quick backstory. So, I believe in your field of work, Tiffany, you guys call this parentification. Now, I could be wrong on that term, but essentially my sister and I I was kind of like her assistant. We would change the diapers. We would feed the babies. And back in those days, we didn't have the plastic diapers that we have today. We had cloth diapers, and you had to use pins. And I really struggled with putting the pins on the baby because I was always afraid of sticking them, But we became their caretakers of our younger brothers. And this is going to sound sad, but it's true. And Greg could have verified that. My sister was more of a mother to my younger brothers than my mother was. Oftentimes, she would get drunk, and my stepdad would be out running the streets, and I discovered later he was selling dope, doing what he did. She would get drunk, and we would have to take care of her. She'd be sloppy drunk, and we had to. Sometimes she would have an accident, and we would have to get her prepared for bed, actually put her in bed. And there's times like that, in particular, she would lash out. She'd grab my sister by the hair, or she would punch me and blame us for all of her agony. Okay? So, about a year later, nothing's really changed. By this point, I have my mother had two sons to my stepfather, Andre and Leon. She had the first son. And I'm in fourth grade, and we've been to parent-teacher conferences in the past, but it was always been like my mother never seemed to really care. She just went through the steps, but never really seemed like she cared what the teachers said and what we needed to work on, etc. Well, my parent-teacher conference in fourth grade was a little different story. So came home from school, we had a quick dinner, and she wanted us to put on clean clothes to put out a good impression or whatever. I didn't have any clean underwear. So this is going to get a little graphic. But so I got my private part caught in a zipper. I couldn't get unstuck, so I walked the 4 blocks to the school, as you can imagine, in a lot of pain. For some odd reason, she spent her sweet time in the school talking to other teachers, really putting on a show. When we got back home, we went upstairs. I still could not get unstuck. And by this time, I'm bawling my eyes out. She comes up asking what's going on, and I explain to her. And she has a cancer stick in her mouth. Cancer stick meaning cigarette. So she tells me to back up, and with all the hatred and disdain, I guess, in her, she grabbed the zipper and up and down as hard as she could. Needless to say, I bled a lot, and I was in agony, and, that was my life, right? I went to bed. I was never taken to the doctor. I was never taken to the hospital. And that's just how things were. That's how she treated me. So I think I alluded to this before. My stepdad promised to get us out of the projects. Well, just before 5th grade, we got out of the projects. We moved to the west side of Rockford. Ironically, the house that they had bought was right behind another housing project, kind of in front of it. So, and it was a rough area.
You got out of the projects just in the backyard, huh?
Exactly right. So my stepdad still did not work. We're in a new neighborhood, new school, trying to make new friends. I got a paper route because I still wanted to help my mother. And doing this paper route, I got a lot of scholarships and jobs, etc. So I was able to accumulate some money to help her out, or I would stash the money for myself. Well, I got really sick and tired of the way he was treating me, treating my sister, and treating my brother Greg and my mom. So I decided to quit the paper route. So on a Saturday night, I don't know where my other brothers were or my sister, but I was home alone. I woke up to the music just blaring. I go upstairs. Here I find Tyrone sitting at the kitchen table cleaning this 38 caliber handgun. I ask him to turn the music down. He insists I sit down at the kitchen table, which I did. He turns the music off, comes back, and continues to work on his gun. And at this point, I'm looking at the ground, kind of shaking in my boots, so to speak. And he said, "Give me one." He goes, first of all, he said, why did you put the paper out? And I just kind of froze with fear. I didn't have an answer. I didn't say anything. And then I heard him, what it sounded like putting bullets back in the chamber. I looked up, and that's indeed what he was doing. And then he goes, give me one reason why I didn't pull the trigger. And I go back to looking at the ground, and I hear the click. He pointed the gun at me and pulled the trigger. I instantly peed my pants as I ran downstairs, and I jumped behind the furnace because I knew back there he couldn't get to me physically because he was too big. So this is the things that were going on, And my mom at this point was working second shift. All of us boys had bedrooms downstairs. We had a toilet downstairs, a black and white TV. Every day after school, my stepdad would say, hit it, which means grab some saltine crackers, some water, whatever snacks we wanted to grab. And all of us 5 boys were in the basement where he locked us down until it was time for dinner. And after dinner, we went back to the basement where he kept us locked up. And my mom get off work around 10:30, and the first thing she would do was open the door to let us up. We're like caged animals, right? Mm-hmm. And that was normal. I guess all of us suffered from Stockholm Syndrome. That was our normal. But I knew it was far from normal. I knew how my life used to be as a very young kid. I was impressionable, and it just burned into my brain. Mm-hmm. All these years, Tiffany, up to this point, I always thought my dad would come around the next corner, like Superman, and beat up the bad guy, set things right, come back and be back with my mom, and accept my 2 younger brothers. That never happened. But I so longed for that relationship. I used to dream I could fly. I would fly to Dubuque, spend time with my dad, and then fly home. And I know that may sound pathetic or strange, but that was my reality. So, we, in this new neighborhood, we developed some friendships, but everything was really controlled. Like when I would go to Dubuque, Iowa for vacation, and I would tell people what's going on, instead of them helping us, they would get on the phone and cuss out my mom, cuss out my stepdad. And when I would go home, I faced the wrath of both of them. And it just was really, really awful. So after 7th grade, I got to go to Dubuque on the Greyhound bus, and my mom said, you're not coming back. So I was just happy to be out of there, Dubuque is where my dad is from. Maybe he'll show up. Once I got into Dubuque, I'm just a little kid. She informs me I need to find the family an apartment because she's leaving my stepdad. I find us a place. My mom moves up with everybody except for my 2 youngest brothers. She couldn't get them away from their father. And I was really devastated. To me, that was extremely traumatic. And the reason I say that, not only because they were my brothers, it was like a 7 and 8 year span. I was kind of like their father figure. Their dad was never around. They emulated me. They talked like me. They acted like me. And their dad could not stand that. So I started 8th grade, and I was really, really struggling. Not only with school, but with my mom in the new living situation, because my dad was nowhere around like I envisioned. Her drinking intensified to the point that we got evicted, had nowhere to go, moved back to Rockford, Illinois, back with Tyrone. But the one bright spot for me was I was back with all my brothers, and that was huge for me. Mm-hmm. So about a year later, me and my brother Greg, up until that point, we were treated really, really awful. As my brother alluded to, we decided to run away. So it was on a Sunday. We walked from downtown Rockford, Illinois, all the way to Pecatonica, which I don't know how far it was at the time, but I clocked it, or I did some research, about 20 miles. And we walked most of that through fields. And it was because we wanted, to have peace of mind and not be afraid of going home and being around him and her. Tiffany, I know you're fully aware of this whole anti-bullying policy, right?